everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Today we're going to be diving into the world of spoken word poetry, what it is, how it works, and how your voice, as it is, can bring writing to life in a way that a page never could. So, this is about learning how sound, rhythm, emotion, and breath turn poetry into something super powerful and something meant to be heard. So, we'll talk about tone, pacing, rhythm, silence, and even gestures. And then we'll listen to a few pieces together and kind of break down what makes them work. So, you walk away with tools to shape your writing and delivery. And if you stay for my next session, you can also learn how to write your own poetry and all the different types of ways to do so, which you can use to amplify these skills. I think that one will be a lot more interactive and hands-on than this one, but I still hope you enjoy. So first, I want to say a little bit about me. Hi, my name is Anaya Jain, and I am a 16-year-old currently at Del Norte High School. I'm a Girl Scout senior, and I'm currently working on my Gold Award project, which aims to inspire people to explore creative writing as a tool for personal expression, emotional well-being, and positive societal impact. I am an aspiring author and a very, very, very avid reader. And I'm currently really passionate about teaching and spreading my love for poetry. Fun fact about me is that I published a book in sixth grade, and I am currently working on my own poetry book. So let's get right into it. So, what is spoken word, and why is it different from poetry in general? So, spoken word is poetry built for the ear, not the eye. It has roots in like ancient, old oral storytelling traditions, and those roots show in how it sounds, alive, rhythmic, meant to be shared aloud. So, on paper, poetry relies on punctuation, spacing, formatting, but word shifts everything to the body, tone, timing, pause, and breath. So think about how this meaning changes in conversation just based on how something's said. So here's a sentence you've probably heard before. It's a pretty simple one. Something like, I'm fine. Now, this one sentence can have so many different meanings. It could mean you're genuinely okay, you're genuinely fine. You could say it in an annoyed manner, an annoyed tone. You could be deeply upset or even passive aggressive. Or, maybe completely bored, completely checked out. All of these are different ways, different tones to express a single sentence. And when you're writing on paper, you don't normally get the chance to use these different types and different tones. So I want to show you guys a short clip from a poem called Poems Are Like Our Soul from the 2016 National Poetry Slam. So as you listen, notice how his tone shifts from soft and gentle to sharp and powerful. And when it does that, the rhythm, where it's smooth in some places, urgent in others, and the way his pauses let the weight of the word sink in. There's movement and in delivery, even though he's standing completely still. So that's what we're going to unpack next here. Okay, let me try again and see if the audio comes. Thank you for telling me, guys. Um, hmm.
Poems are like potions.
You guys hear it now or no? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Let me redo that then.
Poems are like potions used to enchant people and to encourage them. Poems are like feelings. They're similar but different. We write poems to express ourselves in infinite possibilities. Poems are like a melody, an ongoing beat that's beautiful. Poems are like candy. They look different but taste extraordinary. We write poems to face our emotions, to explain how you and I can change for the better. We write poems so people can understand our beliefs and our dreams. Poems are like our soul. They can explain why we're here and why we even exist. There is only one rule in writing poetry. It's to believe that you can do anything.
Okay, so let's talk through what this person here, Joseph, I think, is doing so effectively. So his voice isn't just delivering the poem, it is the poem. Every rise and fall, every breath that you take is part of a meaning. So you'll notice inflection, which is like when he changes pitch and tone to guide emotion. You might notice rhythm. It's not like super metronomic, like it's not on beat, but it's natural, like talking with a passion. The pace slows when he needs to and speeds up when urgency kicks in. And then the last thing is pauses. Pauses act like punctuation. So it's like a breath where there's no word, still speaks volumes. Silence becomes part of a message, especially in spoken word, and it gives space for reaction and for resonance. Which leads me to my next slide, which is all about inflection and emphasis. So, what is inflection? Inflection is one of the most powerful tools in spoken word. It's how you bend meaning with your voice. So, let's try with this simple sentence. I didn't say she stole the money. So if you inflict the word I, you say, I didn't say she stole the money, then you're implying that somebody else said that, right? But if you say something like, I didn't say she stole the money, means you're denying it outright. Going on, you say, I didn't say she stole the money, means maybe you implied it, or maybe you just didn't quite reach that conclusion. I didn't say she stole the money means that somebody else might have stolen the money, but not her. I didn't say she stole the money. Maybe she borrowed it. Maybe she didn't steal it. And then there's two more. Yeah. I didn't say she stole the money means maybe it was a different kind of theft. And then lastly, I didn't say she stole the money means maybe she didn't steal the money, but she stole something else. So the same one sentence can have seven different meanings, and only when spoken loud. So spoken word uses this kind of control, which word you stress, when you pause, how your tone bends, to guide the listener through exactly how you want them to feel and understand the poem. It's not about dramatics, right? It's about clarity and intent. So let's talk about sound now, the actual mechanics of how a poem feels in the mouth and the ear. Rhythm is the flow of a piece. It's not rigid like music, it's conversational, it's emotional, right? You pay attention to when you naturally pause, where your breath falls, and when it feels right to linger or to rush. Vowels carry an emotional tone. So vowels are A, E, I, O, U, right? So long vowels like oo, e, and ah, they stretch a word. They slow the pace and they hold emotion. Think of the word like alone. Short vowels like I and hit or you and like cuts, like the sound, can feel sharp and like pretty urgent, like you're trying to get something done. And vowels are the most important part, but consonants are also pretty important, and that's all the other letters in the alphabet. Consonants give texture. Hard consonants like K, P, and T, they hit like a percussion instrument, like a drum almost. And soft ones like L, M, N, they kind of slide or hum with your word. When you say these two sentences, which kind of mean the similar like thing, right? You say, I slam my hand onto the wood, right? And then I pound my fist against the table. One feels angry while the other feels explosive almost. And that's not just meaning, it's sound design. Spoken poets use these sounds for emotional weight and musicality, which is like the musical tones of a poem, basically. So, let me show you guys a completely different style now. This is a piece called Wake Up by Jesse Oliver from TED Ed, and this poem builds tension through a lot of stuff. So I'm curious as to see what you guys see in this poem.
My friends, wake up. I know that in your dreams you see the way the world should be, but we breathe in reality. Your sleep, it won't stay peaceful, even through a whisper of evil, and there is evil in the minds of sleeping people. Wake up. It's slipping through our fingers. The ability for civility, because clenched fists don't know what they're fighting for. It's not love. Wake up. There you go. Now rub that sleep from your eyes. Arise and reply to those cries. Tell them why we despise the lies of a hateful enterprise. Tell them that dream where nobody dies and no one gets hurt and no one feels the emotional pain of being told that they are not the same. Tell them we share 99.9% of our DNA, so we don't know them by difference, we know them by name or friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Sorry. So I'm curious what you guys saw in this poem that maybe brought tension, like something that kind of stood out to you. Write it in the chat. As you guys write down your answers, I have a few. I saw repetition a lot. Keywords like saying like wake up, kind of like anchoring the poem almost. You're like repeating lines, driving them deeper, emotionally and rhythmically. Passion, absolutely. There's a lot of passion in the poem. And that passion is shown using tone and pacing. Exactly. Yes. It starts like slow and reflective, but then the speed builds and then the urgency grows. And by the end, I think the energy kind of shifted. So, like, even at that high speed, we're also using breath. Breath is another really important tool, right? You're using breath breaks or like not even breathing between words to give space or urgency. And then another thing I saw was tone shifts. Yes. He starts conversational, it ends up pretty fiery. That kind of arc ends with momentum, it adds momentum. So, this structure is written for performance. Every repeated line, every rising cadence, every song like lyric, every pause, right? They're all working towards some sort of emotional payoff. So, next, how do you write like that? Write a poem with performance in mind. Here are a few tips for that. Number one, write aloud. Don't just think about like what's on the page. Speak as you write it, right? You would ask yourself, does this feel natural in my mouth? Does it make sense? Am I stumbling? Does it take me too long to breathe? Am I talking too fast when I say it? If it sounds like awkward out loud, adjust the line. Another one, you can use line breaks. So, line breaks are your breathing cues. They're your breathing spaces, your natural pauses almost. Sometimes breaking mid thought adds weight, right? Like if I say something like, I'm tired of holding my breath, I feel like that pause just gives it more emotion. The break feels like someone's running out of air. Third is repeating with purpose, right? Repetition is really important. Repetition creates rhythm and emphasis. So it grounds your message, it can build urgency, and it makes the poem memorable. Example is we just saw right now. The repetition of the word wake up, that's the title of the poem, because that's the most important part of the poem. That's what you want people to see. Number four is vary your pace, like the way you're talking. Don't rush everything and don't talk super slow the entire time, you know? You have to slow down for impact and you have to use pacing like a roller coaster almost. You have to build, you have to drop, rise again, build, drop, rise again, over and over again until it is where you want it to be. And then number five is just use silence intentionally. A pause is not a blank space. It's a beat of feeling. It's a powerful line, so let it land. Before reveal, let the silence build tension, build character. There's so many different ways to use silence and make it a really important part of your poem. And then add musicality. We just talked a little bit about this, but sound devices add a lot of texture. Some sound devices, for example, would be like alliteration, like repeating consonants, silent streets, something like that, you know? And then assonance, which is repeating vowels, kind of like alliteration. But you'd say something like the owl in the hollow. There's also internal rhyme. Um, that would be almost like words in the middle, sorry, letters in the middle of a word rhyming, but not the entire word, like the flick of a wrist. Both of them have like that is sound, but it just, even though that the word doesn't even rhyme, you know? And then lastly would be onomatopoeias, snap, crack, boom, all sorts of things. Those are super fun to incorporate in spoken word because they give like a lot of character, a lot of emotion to your piece. And then the last tip would be just be emotionally honest. This is a really big one because you don't need fancy words. You just need true ones. Speak from something real to you and let your voice carry it. So I have one last example today, and this one is Sarah Kay's If I Should Have a Daughter. I want you guys to kind of just look at this one like you looked at the last one and tell me what's something that just stood out to you.
If I should have a daughter, instead of mom, she's gonna call me Point B. Because that way she knows that no matter what happens, at least she can always find her way to me. And I'm gonna paint the solar systems on the backs of her hands. So she has to learn the entire universe before she can say, oh, I know that like the back of my hand. And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face, wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air. There is hurt here that cannot.
Oh, oops, I'm sorry. Let me redo that real quick.
systems on the backs of her hands. So she has to learn the entire universe before she can say, oh, I know that like the back of my hand. And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face, wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air. There is hurt here that cannot be fixed by band-aids or poetry. So the first time she realizes that Wonder Woman isn't coming, I'll make sure she knows she doesn't have to wear the cape all by herself. Because no matter how wide you stretch your fingers, your hands will always be too small to catch all the pain you want to heal. Believe me, I've tried. And baby, I'll tell her, don't keep your nose up in the air like that. I know that trick. I've done it a million times. You're just smelling for smoke, so you can follow the trail back to a burning house so you can find the boy who lost everything in the fire to see if you can save him. Or else, find the boy who lit the fire in the first place to see if you can change him. But I know she will anyway, so instead, I'll always keep an extra supply of chocolate and rain boots nearby because there is no heartbreak that chocolate can't fix. Okay, there's a few heartbreaks that chocolate can't fix, but that's what the rain boots are for, because rain will wash away everything if you let it. I want her to look at the world through the underside of a glass-bottom boat, to look through a microscope at the galaxies that exist on the pinpoint of a human mind, because that's the way my mom taught me, that there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this, my mama said, when you open your hands to catch and wind up with only blisters and bruises. When you step out of the phone booth and try to fly, and the very people you want to save are the ones standing on your cape. When your boots will fill with rain and you'll be up to your knees in disappointment, and those are the very days you have all the more reason to say thank you. Because there's nothing more beautiful than the way the ocean refuses to stop.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But yes, that was the end, almost.
Jean-Luc Godard was right when he said that a good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, although not necessarily in that order. I know that I am incredibly nervous and excited to be up here, which is greatly inhibiting my ability to keep it cool. And always apologize when you've done something wrong, but don't you ever apologize for the way your eyes refuse to stop shining. Your voice is small, but don't ever stop singing. And when they finally hand you heartache, when they slip war and hatred under your door and offer you handouts on street corners of cynicism and defeat, you tell them that they really ought to meet your mother. Thank you.
Sorry for the glitch in the middle, but I hope you were able to watch the entire thing and get kind of the gist of how this poem is. It's actually one of my favorites. So, what are a few things that you guys like that stood out to you guys? I'll go first. So, I thought this poem was really intimate. It was really like thoughtful and gentle almost. But what makes it hit so hard isn't just the writing, it's also her presence, her stage presence, right? You'll notice the softness at her tone in different places, and the timing. She speaks really fast, but she also has pauses where she lets the words like breathe. And her gestures. She has a lot of different gestures. They're small, they're honest, they're unforced. She's really positive, absolutely. It's very inspirational. Yes. And she moves when the poem moves, almost. And not for show, but because she feels it. She's feeling and experiencing her poem in real time, right on that stage. So, one of the things, the main things in both of the previous two examples that we just looked at. So, one of the main things that I saw in her speech were like gestures, hand gestures, the way that she talked and the way that she moved around almost. And you can let your body support your words too when you're speaking, when you're saying spoken word poetry. Some things to try are anchoring yourself. You can feel your feet on the ground, no pacing, just still, confident presence. You can gesture with intention, like a raised hand or a small motion that like is incorporated into your poem, and let it come naturally with emotion. Facial expressions too. Let your face reflect the tone. Don't overthink it, just feel it. And then lastly, I have a stillness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you could ever do is just pause and stay completely still. And I know I've said this so many times, but silence is your best friend. It's truly the best thing that you could do in a poem. Know when to pause, when to inflict, and when to explain and show power. Yeah, I've seen poems land harder with one quiet gesture than with shouting or like theatrics. The key is like alignment, what between what you say and how your body supports it. So now we've listened to three distinct styles of spoken poetry and talked about the most important basics. So I hope you maybe found something that seemed of a little interest to you. Each one was powerful in its own way, and none of it needed to be loud or flashy to hit hard. And that's the core of spoken like word. That's the entire point of it. It's about presence. It's about trusting your voice as it is to carry what matters to you. So, just a few final tips is as you go forward, just remember to breathe because line breaks and silence can follow your natural breath. Pace yourself. Slow down when it matters. Speed up with purpose. Know when to be fast, when to be slow. Use your body, gestures, even small shifts can echo huge feelings. And then lastly, just be honest, because your truth, said simply, is more powerful than any performance. So you don't have to be a trained actor to share something meaningful. You don't have to memorize it perfectly. You don't have to be loud. You just need to show up and with your voice, with your story, and with your words. Spoken word is just about connection. And that connection starts with you. So we have a little bit of time before 3:10. So I invite you all to brainstorm a poem or find a poem online. And using the things we learned today, try and find different ways to say it, like different ways to express different tones. Maybe you could say it in a way that makes you sound angry, and then another way that makes you sound frustrated. See if you can use these tools to inflict them the way you want. And if you would like to record and send them to me, then I will have my email on the next slide. And I would love to put some recordings on my website as well. So, or if you just prefer to like send it to me and me only, I would love to review and give you some feedback. And if you're looking to review anything that I shared today on this slideshow, then I will have this entire session posted on my YouTube channel, which will also be on the next slide. So you can definitely look out for that. And finally, I'm sure you guys have some questions because it's definitely been a while. Feel free to ask them now. I would love to answer them. What do you mean, can you do both? Like, can you create your own poem and use somebody else's poem like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. You can do anything that you want to, whatever you enjoy. Yeah, you can start writing right now, absolutely. Unfortunately, that's the end of today's session. It was just a lecture. And I hope you enjoyed and took something like important that you found something that you liked from this session. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. And I hope you all have a wonderful week and definitely try and mess around with spoken word a little bit. And if you'd like to check out more about like what I'm doing or my journey, here are all of my website and all of my socials. So I have many more workshops coming up and a lot more exciting things planned. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Yeah, thank you all so much again for coming. And if you're coming to my next seminar, then I will see you in a little less than an hour. Yeah, and feel free to stay back if any questions and clarifications, or if you'd like to write and show me what you've written. Otherwise, you can send it to my email as well.